متكئين على فرش بطائنها من استبرق وجنى الجنتين دان.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري. The description of Jannah is very intriguing from many perspectives. Firstly, the conversation of Jannah starts from ayat number 46 of Surah Rahman, where the use of the word limun means and whoever. So it can be assumed that the Jannah is for both those human beings and jinn who stand in fear of their Lord. But the creation of jinn was not one that appreciated gardens, fruits, springs, etc. That is why it was only Hazrat Adam a.s. and Bibi Hawa who were allowed to live briefly in Jannah. Also, when the jinn heard the recitation of Surah Rahman, they did not say that if they followed Allah's teachings, they will be granted Jannah. Instead, they mentioned they would get protection from hellfire. But Allah knows best. In Surah Rahman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about two sets of Jannah. One category of people will get 2 Jannahs, and another category will get 2 more in addition to the first set. Mufassireen scholars have argued which is the higher category of Jannah. It is my contention that the additional 2 Jannahs Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is offering the believers, starting from ayat number 62, is the elevated set of Jannahs. I will compare the 2 sets of Jannah by referring them as Jannah 1 and Jannah 2 to make it easier and to draw out this conclusion, and Allah knows best. The descriptions of the Jannah 1 begins with ayat number 48, where reference is made to greenery with thick branches. Jannah 2 is introduced in ayat number 64 with extremely thick and green branches that the lush green almost looks like a black color since it is so intense, almost as if the light cannot penetrate through these gardens. So in essence, Jannah 2 has more greenery. In ayat number 50, the springs in Jannah 1 are described to be flowing, whereas in Jannah 2, they are described to be gushing. Again, more intensity as portrayed in ayat number 66. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in ayat number 52 that the Jannah 1 will have 2 kinds of every fruit. Whereas in ayat number 68, Allah mentions that in Jannah 2, in addition to every kind of fruit available, there will be date palms and pomegranates. Some scholars are of the view that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala especially mentioned the dates and pomegranates as they were the favorite fruits of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is honoring the Sabiqoon here by telling them that they will especially get these fruits in their elite Jannah. The spouses of Jannah 1 in ayats 56 and 58 are described as chaste maidens, with their gazes low, and their descriptions are compared to rubies and pearls. In Jannah 2, these maidens are not only described as chaste, but in addition, Allah has added a word khayratun, which means beautiful, in ayat number 70. Also, the maidens in Jannah 2 have been given residence in tents, khayam, as this was a tradition of the elite Bedouin culture to lay out huge tents in the desert at night. The maidens in Jannah 2, unlike the ones in Jannah 1, are shown to be waiting for their husbands to return back to them and have hence confined themselves to their tents as mentioned in ayat number 72. Additionally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to the spouses of Jannah 2 as Hurul Een, a special creation of spouses whose beauty is unparalleled to any other. Spouses of both Jannahs will be created in such a way that they would be untouched by any man or jinn before. Hence, they have been reserved solely for their Jannah husbands. The offer of several spouses to the believing men of Jannah is a choice given to them. It is not something mandatory by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as believing men may also choose only to be with their spouses of the dunya. An interesting thing to note is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been silent on the women of Jannah, as the spouses mentioned are the female for the male believers entering into Jannah. The fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has deliberately not mentioned the female believers is in fact a greater honor and blessing for them. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is silent of a reward, He mentions the reward of that without any limit, i.e., ajarun kabeer, an immeasurable reward. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in fact holds the women believers in a higher status by offering them whatever they want. They can make their own choice. They may be with their husbands of the dunya, choose a different husband of their liking, or choose to even be single. It will be completely up to them what choice to make. Subhanallah. Another interesting comparison between the two sets of Jannah is that in Jannah 1, the inhabitants are shown to be relaxing on their couches and enjoying their fruits before the mention of their spouses. But in Jannah 2, they are shown relaxing on cushions after the mention of the wives. In Jannah 1, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word istabarak, which is beautiful lining of the cushion from the inside. But in Jannah 2, He uses the word abqari, which is very rare and exquisite kinds of rugs which cannot be gotten hold of very easily. This Ramzan, let us examine our relationship with our spouses. An interesting point to note is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not mention or give a guidance anywhere in the Quran of how to make our marriages work in the dunya. Maybe He wants us to figure that out ourselves, as the relationships vary and are subjective in so many ways. Allah's mention of spouses of Jannah as rubies and corals is a hint to mankind that only in heaven will they be appreciated to have an eternal value and can be looked upon as a timeless treasure. So why cannot we work on our relationship with our spouses and value them as our timeless treasures in the dunya? And so, the only thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the relationship of the spouses in the dunya is beautifully captured in Surah Rahman, ayat number 21. Another of His signs is that He created spouses from among yourselves for you to live with tranquility. This is an extremely important lesson for us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say that the purpose of marriage is to procreate or to seek physical pleasure. That can be attained outside the confines of marriage. But what is priceless is our peace of mind. Allah instills love and mercy within the spouses for each other, and it is in the confines of a marriage only can we find true companionship and peace. All the money in the world cannot buy us peace, but a tranquil heart beating alongside our spouse is gold. So let us be mindful of Allah's word and seek tranquility from where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is guiding us to seek. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Thank you for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you found this reflection on Surah Rahman meaningful, please like and share with those who may benefit, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. May Allah's rahmah and barakah be with you and your loved ones this Ramzan and always. Ameen. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram.